When Harry and Esther Snyder, the founding couple of In-N-Out Burger, moved to Baldwin Park, they had no money. They got this little triangular spit of land, so they couldn't kind of replicate the style of the time. But Harry was an ingenious guy, and he was a ham radio enthusiast and a kind of amateur engineer, and he rigged up this two-way radio system. He said, okay, someone will drive up, they'll order through this little radio, and then drive through and out. And that's how it got the name In-N-Out.
Welcome to the epic world of dog training. I am JT Lawson. I am the lead trainer at Make Your Dog Epic. I also own the Oklahoma locations for Make Your Dog Epic, where we turn your canine companions into truly epic dogs. Get ready for your daily doses of wisdom as we tackle your questions and unleash the secrets to mastering dog training. As always, our goal is to gain obedience, but never at the expense of the dog's personality. Can I have a kiss? Oh, thank you. Oh, good job. Can I have a kiss? Oh, thank you. Oh, let's try again. Oh, what? One more? No? Okay.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere. And on today's show, we're talking about the In-N-Out Burger success story, the In-N-Out Burger history, but really we're talking about how to build a linear workflow. Now, I would argue that 9 out of 10 wonderful people that I meet don't ever talk about workflows. James, do you agree that most people that you know do not talk about workflows?
Yeah, it's a rare thing, and that's not something I normally talk about either.
JT, do you know a lot of people talking about workflows?
I don't know many people at all talking about workflows, no.
And workflows is the only thing I think about pretty much all the time. To be honest, it's like if you had like a recurring thought that you go back to, the thought that I have is workflows. So we're going to go through 3 examples today, one of which is a business that we own called Make Your Dog Epic. One of which is a business that I'm involved in, that I own, called Elephant in the Room. It's a haircut chain. I say 3. We'll probably go. Let's do 5. Let's do 5. The next would be our workshops, and then we'll go over In-N-Out Burger. So I'll pull these up here. But the workflow is a plan from left to right that is used to generate a profit. All right. So the goal is you solve a problem for the customer. You solve the problem for the customer, you make a profit. So there's 4 steps to entrepreneurship. Step 1, you find a problem. Step 2, you sell a solution. Step 3, you nail it and scale it. And step 4, again, this step 1, you find a problem. Step 2, you solve the problem. Step 3, you sell the solution. Then step 4, you nail it and scale it. One more time. Step 1, you find a problem. Step 2, you solve the problem. Step 3, you sell the solution. Step 4, you nail it and scale it. So James, let's focus for a second on In-N-Out Burger. What is the core problem that In-N-Out Burger solves?
They feed people who are hungry.
Do you like In-N-Out Burger?
I've been there once with you in Las Vegas.
Okay. I love In-N-Out Burger. JT, do you like In-N-Out Burger?
I really love In-N-Out Burger. It's quick. You only have 3 options.
Yeah.
So it's great. You either can have the burger or the burger, and it's great. And I love it.
Now
it's so simple.
Now let's play this little history video just so we learn a little bit something about In-N-Out Burger. Then we'll get into, because again, I think it's helpful to study best practices, proven systems. Here we go.
Cruise west down Route 66 from Meet La Cafe, and you'll arrive in the San Gabriel Valley suburb of Baldwin Park, home to another place steeped in fast food lore. It was here, back in 1948, that Harry and Esther Snyder opened a modest burger stand that eventually grew into a cherished local chain.
Now, real quick, people don't know this. Harry used to be a communist.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. So before he became a Christian, he was a communist.
Wow.
So how does communism work? Just the idea. How does that work? The idea, the theory, James, if you had to explain it, and don't attack people out there that embrace communism, just explain the theory of it as you understand it.
That's when the state controls the product and then you work for the state.
That's right. And JT, why does it always fail? Communism.
Because you can't run a country or anything under that model. You just can't do it.
Now, I'm going to tell you this is going to offend somebody out there. I would argue that 90% of the listeners to this show operate in a supply chain, a food chain, a process called communism. I would argue that 90% of the people listening to this show right now, you operate under a form of communism. And I'm going to give you some examples, okay? One, and I'm not attacking you, James. I'm not attacking you, JT. You both served in the military. You were a reserve. You were active duty. Is that right, James?
Yes.
James was active duty. You were a reserve?
Yes, but I was in the Army, which makes it cooler than him being active in the Air Force. So
Okay, wait. So you guys both served in the military.
Right.
Now, just being real, I know in my life, and maybe I only associate with bad people, but I know in my life, my direct life, many people, who have faked injuries to get lifetime free payments from the military. In my life, not talking about you or you, outside of this, in my life, people that I know who straight up will tell me, dude, it's amazing. I never have to work again.
There's a whole business model on that. And I get ads on my Instagram that come up and say, oh, if you're a veteran, you're entitled to money.
JT, do you see this too?
no, it's more often than I like to admit, because I try to stick up for the Army where I can,
But I'm just being
but I'm
real.
honest in other in like anywhere. And so in that, there's a ton of people that are like,
Now,
bro, I'm on 80% disability.
let's switch gears now, okay?
Yeah.
Let's go to the academics.
Okay.
I know a lot of people. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure I only know shady people, but I know people that pretend to have a learning disability. And I'm not talking about anybody in this room. I'm talking about people that I know, not here, that that have pretended to have learning disabilities, so they get to go to college perpetually, and they're just given degrees now. So they're studying like theater. Okay, how are you going to use that in the workplace? They're studying the arts.
Basket weaving.
I'm not kidding. These are real degrees. They're studying theology again. By the way, it's called the Bible. Just lock yourself. Seriously, if you want to learn the Bible, go to Arkansas, stay in an Airbnb in the mountains. Don't leave till you've read the whole thing. It'll take you about 30 days.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good pro tip.
But I mean, people instead are like, I've wanted to go theology. I've studied this my 7th year studying theology, going to get my master's. And there's a whole industry of people that pretend as though they have a mental injury that causes them to be unable to finish quickly, or they found a way to just keep getting government money by continuing to enroll in college. Have you ever met these people, James?
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because there's someone that I know. I won't give it out.
Yeah,
who
I won't
is,
give it
but
out. We're not
You
talking
know what? He went to law school,
Uh-oh.
and he went to the doctor so that he could get prescribed Adderall to make it through law school.
I know people like this.
Yeah.
I know people like this, Jake.
I used to, not in college. I stopped before college, but I used to be one of these people. I used to, because I got diagnosed with everything. So dyslexia, ADHD, ADD, dysgraphia, just all of which, just by the way, dysgraphia just means you write bad, which is every male ever. So,
Yeah.
but I got diagnosed with it, and I used to like purposely, like, you know, when they would do popcorn reading, when they were calling you, I would purposely read slow so they would stop calling on me. And then I would blame it on the words are mixed up in my head. And so and then I remember specifically, it was like 7th grade, a teacher pulled me outside the classroom and I had to like read something for her. And she was like, you read perfectly fine. And I was like, I know, I just don't like reading in class. And she was like, what? So the last 3 years, people have been giving you special tests and special other things and pulling you out of class. And I was like, oh yeah, that's what's been happening.
Right.
And I finally admitted it.
Right. I know. Okay. So again, I'm just saying, this guy used to be a communist. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he says he actually became a Christian. And when he became a Christian, and again, you can study this. Great. If you wanted to read about this guy, great. There's many books written about him. I'll pull up the one that I would recommend in just a second. But again, this is a guy who, you know, it's like he was living under this communist mindset. And by the way, this book right here, it is hot. I love this book.
It's a good book.
It's a great book. Yeah. But it's like this guy was a communist, though. Okay. So when you have a communist worldview, you believe that somebody else should be responsible for taking care of yourself. So I'm asking again, what percentage of Americans are choosing to live in a socialist work environment? Okay. So and I'm not attacking everybody, just trying to help here. I know teachers. We had back in the day when I was growing my big company called DJconnection.com. Had a teacher who called me, and he'd been working for us for a while. This guy's in his late 40s at the time. I'm 20. And he says, here's the deal. If you ever need a guy to cover a show on a Friday or a Thursday or a Wednesday or a Tuesday or a Monday, don't just book me on the weekends. I know you only book me on the weekends because I'm a school teacher. But if you ever need someone to cover, ever, during the week, you let me know because I'm always available. And I said, how is that possible? He says, bro, as a teacher, I get personal days where they're not allowed to ask why I can't come in. It's just personal. I also have ongoing education days that I can take. I also have vacation days. I have accrued sick time. So he's like, I'm just going to be real with you. Like, I haven't worked 5 days a week for probably a decade.
Wow.
It's like I average about 3 days a week because, if there's like 4th of July, that falls on like a, certain day of the week. I do the math. Certain holidays fall on certain, you know what I mean? So he'll go, well, if 4th of July is on like a Saturday, I mean, I'll use a ongoing training day on like a Wednesday. Thursday, I'll use a personal day. Friday, I'll use, and he's like, and I just figure it out. So I work about 3 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, you get so many days off as a teacher. By the way, everything you're saying is hitting home right now because I was in the military. I used to use that learning disability as an out, and both my parents are teachers. So and you personally attacked me 3 times.
I'm going around. Now, there's somebody out there, you might not know these people. I know them, pastors. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of pastors. Have you heard of the concept of a sabbatical? Have you heard about this concept of a sabbatical?
Preach it. Let's hear it.
Okay, so let me just tell you, how that works here. Today, we're going to sell tickets for our in-person workshop, okay? And just to be real, this event's going to be sold out. It's going to be packed.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to sell, it's going to happen. And today, Make Your Dog Epic is going to have leads coming in. People want to hire Make Your Dog Epic because they love the company. People are going to schedule haircuts at Elephant in the Room. But there's no point where I could take a period of paid granted leave as an example. A period of paid leave granted to a university teacher or other worker for study or travel. Traditionally 1 year for every 7 years worked.
Wow.
So I know a lot of pastors that believe in the Sabbath. Come on now. And the sabbatical. So the Sabbath, right? You're supposed to work. If you read the Bible, it says in Genesis, you work 6 days and rest on the 7th.
Yep.
These homeboys who I know who are pastors, they work maybe 5 days a week, and they believe they should take off approximately 1/7 of the year.
And 1/7 of the year on top of that?
And I'm being real. So I watch these guys, and I know a lot of pastors, and I'm like, dude, are you taking off 7.4? Because every time I talk to them, they're on a vacation. And they go, well, yeah, I mean, it's biblical. I take off, 7. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You take off 8 full weeks a year. No, 7.4. Okay. Why? Because it's biblical. It's a sabbatical. It's a Sabbath. I go, you never even work 5 days a week now. They're like, it's true, but I believe in life balance. Okay. Meanwhile, have we talked about the guy who was the founder of In-N-Out Burger? I think we have. He used to be a communist, okay? So the first step you have to take if you want to become a successful person is you have to grab life by the horns and go get it and quit buying into some jackassery-inspired system where you don't work so that you can get paid. Another example, a little bit closer to home for some people, but I'm speaking vague. I know people who said they had ongoing injuries to keep getting state funding and only applied for jobs, because if you apply for a job and you don't get it, you keep getting your benefits. I employ women and men who pretend they can't come to work during certain days of the week so that they never make more than a certain amount, because if you make more than a certain amount, you don't get your free government money for your kids. I know people that live together and choose to never get married so they can each continue getting government money because they're a single parent. A lot of them.
No, it's true. Or people who just have kids just to get that extra paycheck.
I know people that adopt children in the foster care system. They bring in foster care kids just to make the money they get per kid. And then they treat the kids like they're a rock in the garden that they visit occasionally.
Wow.
They will just
Genuinely. Yeah.
no, seriously, they'll just pick up foster kids left and right.
Yeah. They'll
You're
treat them like a dog, or really more like a cat.
Yeah.
To the cat, you just push them off. You give them a litter box. You throw some food out there. You hope they live.
I know people that adopt dogs right now, stray dogs at scale, because they found a way to get a grant for it.
Yeah.
And they treat the dogs horribly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so this guy used to be a communist, but I would argue America today, if I go talk to 10 people today, not our listeners, thankfully, if I talk to, and I say, do you live off of government assistance? I bet you 90+% of the people I'm going to talk to live off of government assistance. I had a conversation the other day. Somebody says to me, can I come to the lake with you? Can I come to the lake? Yeah, you can come to the lake. Must be nice. Then they said that little statement, and I'm going, what did you just say? Because you're getting my crazies on me. Like, what? No, it just must be nice. I'm like, no. You have never, ever, ever worked a 12-hour day, let alone you don't do it 6 days a week. And you're telling me it must be nice? You know why you're saying that? Because you have chosen a profession that does not allow you to achieve financial success and that allows you to get government assistance. And every month you're looking for the Social Security to come in, or you're looking for some sort of rebate or some sort of refund, or you're looking for some sort of grant. Your whole life is that.
Yeah, a lot of people, they look for security. So they try to find the job that's secure, that they can't get fired from.
Right.
That at the end, the government will pay you. And you're relying on a government that currently is, how much are we in debt right now?
30, let me pull it up. It's an encouraging website. It's called usdebtclock.org. And it updates minute by minute. We're at 34 trillion.
So
Yeah.
you're expecting a government that's 34 trillion in debt
Right.
to be able to pay you
Right.
when you're 80. They don't have the money. They're not going to be able to do it. And so you're looking for security from someone who's not even going to be able to pay. And as an entrepreneur, you can't operate in that realm. You can't operate in, I always want to make the safe move. I always want to be secure, or you're going to fail. You can't expect somebody else to pay for you. And if you use words like, it must be nice, well, actually it sucks getting there, but yeah, it is nice now. Because we sacrificed what needed to be sacrificed. So to have what other people have, you have to be willing to do what they did, not what they're currently doing. So you look at one of your good friends, John Lee Dumas.
Yeah.
What he currently does is not what got him to where he is. Because he used to record shows all the time, but now my understanding he was record shows once a week or once a month or
what he does, and I'll just be clear, he likes to batch.
Yeah.
So he likes to record like every single show he does, all at the same time. So he'll record like a week's worth of shows.
Yep.
On Monday, and then he puts out one a day.
Yeah.
Throughout the week, and that's his move. But again, when he was out there, begging Gary Vaynerchuk to hop on his show or Lewis Howes, I mean, it was a grind.
Yeah.
And John Lee Dumas has shared his story on multiple podcasts. And this is a guy who was in the military. He got out of the military and recognized, holy crap, if I'm ever going to be successful, I have to grab life by the horns and make it happen.
And he did. And now he gets to reap in what he sowed. So it's great. So you have to just to have what other people have. You have to be willing to do what they did to get there.
And this, I want people to see this. This is where he lives now. John Lee Dumas, just to give you some context, okay? This is his house, and he lives now in beautiful Puerto Rico. Just so we're clear, why he moved to Puerto Rico is you don't pay income tax if you live in Puerto Rico for 51% of the year.
51%.
Yeah, so he no longer
here on a sunny Caribbean day. Just wanted to give you a little crib tour of the place that Kate and I moved to back in 2016 here in Puerto Rico. I want to show you the EO Fire Studios and a little tour of the house in general. This is the crib behind me, so let's go take a quick tour. All right, so here's our lovely palm tree that made it through Hurricane Maria and the front of our house. Let's head over to the front walkway and see what we have going on. And walking towards the front entrance, but we're going to take a little detour and go.
That's where he went. If you want to learn more about it, Forbes talks about it. But basically, you're paying a 4% income tax if you choose to move to Puerto Rico for 51% of the year. So just so
And-
we're clear. Yeah.
And when you see his house there,
Yeah.
if you're watching that and you're getting bitter watching it, you have the wrong mindset.
Right.
It has to motivate you to get better. Like that should inspire you. Like I'm happy that he's able to do that because he worked to get it. He didn't get lucky. He had to work for that. So if you're watching that and you're like, wow, must be nice or
Right.
he's lucky or all, you automatically have the wrong mindset and you have a poverty mindset and you're going to stay there until you fix your mindset. This is how it is.
And, you know, again, 90% of people not attacking, I believe 90% of people that I know, and maybe I know the wrong people. Maybe I just hang around the wrong people and I have a problem and I need to meet new people. But I believe that 90% of the people that I know, and I've just talked about teachers, just talked about military, just talked about pastors, okay, just talked about academics, they live off of the government.
Yep.
So is it shocking right now that Joe Biden just proposed raising the taxes to the highest level in the United States history and the vast majority of Americans are in favor of it?
Someone's got to pay for it.
They're excited because they want free stuff.
Right.
Yep.
The mindset is like, okay, yeah. So I want you to watch this story and then we're going to get into how to start a lean startup. Here we go.
But In-N-Out didn't just win the hearts of Southern Californians. It revolutionized fast food with a stroke of genius. The two-way drive-through speaker, making traditional car hops and walk-up windows.
Look how big the first location was. I mean, is this like a closet? What are we doing here? And again, he didn't have any money. So he had a menu, burgers, cheeseburgers, fries, cold drinks. And I'm going to walk you through. That was in 1948. He started that, he being
25
Eric
cents
Snyder.
a burger.
So I'm going to walk you through this real quick because this is big. Okay. So 1948, fact number one, he started In-N-Out Burger. That's a fact. Baldwin Park. Two, Harry and Esther Snyder. They started this. It's supposed to be, it's believed to be California's first drive-through. So people think it's the first one. Any research that goes into it pretty much finds the same thing. He invented the concept of the two-way speaker. All right. Then what he did is he said, we're going to limit the menu to the following rule. These are the rules. These are the rules for the menu. He says, one, we're going to just serve high quality food in a clean and tidy environment. Two, we're going to make sure that the menu can't be changed. So it's like, we're not going to change. Three, no microwaves, period. No microwaves ever. No microwaves. Four, milkshakes have to be made with real ice cream. That, by the way, if you want to just lose your mind, look up what is in a McDonald's milkshake. Because the one thing that's not in it is milk.
I don't want to. I think I had a
Yeah.
caramel frappe the other, like 4 days
It's
ago.
wild. No, it's wild. You're just like, whoa. He has a rule, controversial, that burgers have to be made with beef. Ooh, 100% beef. You look at, well, what are those? What are they putting in if it's not beef? You want to see that for a second?
Yeah,
The
it
slime.
ruined my day. Just go. I'm ready for my day. To be
Okay,
great.
just no.
Look it up.
It's fine. It's just it's
Because I think I had McDonald's the other day. So
no, it's fine. I mean, it's just, but I just want people to see. This is. I mean, this is.
What?
So let me just show you how they do. We'll play this real quick. This is real.
Ah.
Oh, it's pretty rough.
I try to ignore this.
Did that story about how McDonald's uses this pink slime to make its hamburger meat and its chicken nuggets, right? And basically
Oh.
what it is basically meat that has been ground up very finely. And then they use something known as ammonium hydroxide in order to
That sounds good.
kill all the bacteria in the meat. Now, this is not like great cuts of meat, right? It's basically like the odds and ends of the animal that are left over. And
Odds
like
and
I
ends,
said,
really.
yeah, obviously. And then they have to use this ammonium hydroxide because of the fact that it has a ton of bacteria in it.
Okay, that's encouraging. Okay, so we go anyway. So In-N-Out Burger. Okay, so they're gonna have these are the rules. No microwaves. Milkshakes are made with real milk. Burgers are made with 100% beef. Buns are baked fresh, and potatoes. The potatoes used to make the French fries are actually shipped in as whole potatoes. So when you go to In-N-Out Burger and they make something in front of you, they make the French fries. This is what it looks like. They're not like hiding how they do it, right? So you're gonna see a real potato. So it's like, here comes a real potato. What, a real potato? Here it comes.
Yeah. Like, I'm literally watching how they're how they make
He's gonna chop it. He's chopping it. He's chopping it. Real potato. You're not gonna find real potatoes in most places. He's feeling it. Look, he's just, get it. He's moving it. Get it. He's doing smart. He's getting it. And they're working now, real quick. They're in a tight space. It's like a submarine. They're in there working. There he goes again. Boom. Doing the fly. I watched this all day. I don't know why. This is my happy place right here. Potatoes.
My happy place is, have you been to Krispy Kreme? Where they got the screen?
Yep.
They got the glass like this and
Yep.
you see it. So it's not real potatoes.
Yep.
I don't know how Krispy Kreme makes their stuff, but I can watch that.
But it's
all
a
day.
workflow. This
Yeah.
is what a workflow is. You say, what's the workflow? They make it over and over and over and over and over and over and over, right? And then they fry them. And the point is, this is the workflow. Now, if you haven't been into an In-N-Out burger before, the whole thing is designed to be awesome. That's why there's a big line around it, because the food
Always.
tastes great. Always.
I'm always shocked at how I've never been to an In-N-Out burger that isn't busy.
Now,
I've yet to be to one.
let me tell you, this is the deal. The founder of the company, Harry Snyder, he did not open his second location for 3 years. And do you know why? James, you want to know why?
He wanted to perfect the first one.
Yes, that's why. Great job. Boop, boop. Awesome. I knew you would know.
Yeah.
No, people want,
Mega point.
but people want to scale out stuff that doesn't work. And we'll just speak in general terms, but man, it gets crazy and it's kind of fun to watch. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch. I mean, when when people have the ambition to grow, but not the discipline needed to build the systems, it's awesome just watching the implosion. And we don't want to cheer for the failure of other people.
No.
But you remember, do you guys ever remember Just for Feet?
Is that the one they had the basketball inside?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had the basketball court inside.
And this is a thing where you just for
Yeah.
Feet. And again, I'm not rooting for anybody's failure. This company failed a long time ago, and I'm sure wonderful people lost everything, and I'm unfortunate. But it was magnificent because I remember
It was
being
awesome.
Well, I remember I was like 12 years old. And I was thinking about workflows then because that's how I think. Okay. And I remember I would go in. I'm not kidding.
Don't skip past that. You at 12, you're thinking about workflows?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I grew up poor, and I'm like, why is it that I'm poor? How do you not become poor? So this is how it would work at Just for Feet. You would go in the store, and you would go to check out. Okay. And there would only be like 7 people in there at any given time. Like 7 customers. And I'm like, this place is huge.
You're bringing back so many memories.
I'm like, how is a place this big and it has 7 people in it?
Have you ever been to one of these?
Never.
Bro.
It's sick because you walk in there.
Full basketball.
It was never busy.
It's like a half-court basketball.
Yeah, they have a half-court basketball, so you could put the shoes on,
right,
and then go play basketball with them on, and it was the coolest thing ever.
Right, and I'm thinking like, this is really cool, but it's too cool. Because it's not, and I remember saying to my friend, Lori Montag, at the time, she was in her 40s, and I was 12, as my friend's mother. She was a very successful entrepreneur. And I said, hey, by the way, Lori Montag, she invented zany bands. That's her claim to fame, if you haven't seen. She invented zany bands as well as Slap Watch. This is Lori Montag's. And she's done a wonderful photography business. And this was like, and again, I'm not endorsing Ellen. I'm not a fan of Ellen. Just telling you, just showing you, this is her product. Stop it.
Actually, really
less Ellen, more Slap Watch.
You don't have time to buckle a watch on. You just got to go and you just do that. And then it just gets right put on your hand like that. Isn't that cool?
So it's screened over this?
Colors and they have removable faces. So you can mix and match. So it's 9 colors.
It's incredible.
And, 81 possibilities. And the coolest.
That's incredible. Anyway, but anyways, I remember getting in the car, in the van they had. I'm going, this place can't make it. She's like, what? What? 13-year-old Clay Clark? And I'm going, it can't work because you're in it and there's more there's more employees than customers. Because remember, if you ever bought a shoe, do you remember the process? James, have you ever been to all these at all? No,
they didn't have them in New Jersey.
I don't remember the product because I never actually bought a shoe from them. I just went in, I tried them on, played basketball, left.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
how it worked. That's why it didn't work. That's what I'm saying. We would go there and she would drop us off there, and 2 hours later, we're still playing basketball, and none of us bought anything. It's like a subsidized playground or something. So I say, hey, Lori, I don't think it's going to make it. I just cannot see it working. I don't understand how it could work. And maybe I'm missing something. I don't understand. So what you do is you'd find the shoe you wanted. So you take the shoe up to the front, and then you'd hand it to a person. And their whole job was to verify that this was the shoe you want. They go, is this the shoe you want? Okay, yeah. Have you tried it on? Okay, great. And they would pass it to the person next to them, and their job was to check you out.
No.
Yes. And then there was a bagger who would bag your shoe and ask if you needed help taking it to your car. And I'm like,
So
three people.
3 people to check out one
This is
person.
real.
One pair of shoes.
And so I remember, there's no way this is going to work. And there was so much money put into it and so much hype.
I feel like most people treated it like a batting cage. You know how the batting cage, they have the bats?
Yes.
You're never going to buy the bats, but you take the bats, you try the bats.
Yep.
This was like the basketball version of that, because you would find a shoe. You're like, oh, those are sick. Okay, let me take those.
Right.
Let me play around in them.
Right.
Let me crease them. Let me scuff them.
There it is.
Then I'm going to put them back on the shelf, give them back to an employee, and say, no, I'm good.
Right. So again, you have to create a workflow that adds value. So why In-N-Out Burger works, let me read this to you. This is a quote from the Service Profit Chain, perhaps one of my favorite books, but nobody will read it. And it's a thing where I have talked about it. I have obsessed on it. I have done shows about it, but no one wants to read it. You know why? Because it's actually a book that it's linear and it makes sense. So let me just show the diagram in the book here. I'm sorry, it's kind of blurry, but it says here, internal service quality. Okay. That creates employee satisfaction. Like, there's many people that tell me the reason why they like working here is because of the environment in the office. I hear it all the time. They go, I just like, we have people that come here on their day off just to read a book. At the end of the day, people want to work in an organization where it's organized and things are getting done.
Yeah. When I was running the business in Nashville, I would fly back often just to be in the environment. It was so great.
So box number 2 is employee satisfaction. Box number 3 is employees will tend to stick around and be more productive if they actually believe in what you're doing. Like, if they like what you're doing, then that creates value for the customer. The customer then leaves being satisfied. They tell their friends, I'm loyal to this place. It's great. You should come back. And that creates revenue and profitability over and over and over. So we talk about, let's go, so let's switch industries for a second. So let's go back into the dog training space just for a second. So James, if you didn't know JT, okay, and you had a dog, you're married, okay, what's going to happen to you? Wife is going to buy a dog. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're watching TV after a tough day. You've been working out. You've been running your business. You've been selling mortgages, whatever you're doing, right?
Right.
You come home and you're like, what is this thing? And she'll go, it's a puppy. We got a puppy. It's going to happen. What percentage of times, JT, do you hear about the story where the woman found the puppy, brought the puppy home, and what versus the men who found the puppy and brought it home? What percentage is it like the woman found the puppy? Because you talk to thousands of customers. What percentage of the time is it the woman who's calling to schedule dog training lessons?
Oh, like 80% of the time,
Yeah,
the woman's in charge of finding the dog trainer.
And it's because they found the dog.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. So it's going to happen to you, James.
Or even if they aren't the ones who found the dog, it's now their dog. Even if the husband brought it home, it's not the husband's dog anymore.
So now
it's their dog.
So now, if you did it, hypothetically, if you were going to Google, okay, because you're like, man, I got to find a dog, and you lived in Tulsa, what would you type into the search results?
Tulsa dog training.
You would? You're a sick freak. So you do a search and you go, oh. So I'm gonna just click on the different sites. Tell me what happens. Okay. So we're going to Woodland. I'm sure they're great people. There we go. Is it doing something for you? Click on the Make Your Dog Epic website.
Yes, there it is.
I mean, objectively though, is it doing something? Doesn't look like it's working. But what would you do, James? Honestly, if you didn't know us, what would you do?
I would type in, dog training Tulsa, and then I would look at the reviews and see who's got the best reviews. And I would look at the website and see who's got, like a website that makes me feel good about your company.
Of the 3 that come up top right now, let's click on them. Oh, next one. Which one would you call, or which ones would you call, given the first 3 results?
Well,
objectively,
I would call Make Your Dog Epic because
Why?
I would want a dog that's epic and that just listens to me when I tell it to do something.
What do you think, JT? If you were not attached to it, obviously
I was
you
not
run and
attached to
manage
it,
the location.
Which
one or ones would you call?
I would unbiasedly look at how many reviews each had.
Yep.
So then there's 2 that obviously have more way more than others. But
you call 2?
But then But then I click on the websites and I judge based on the website. And so that website doesn't work. So then I'm going to the next one.
Okay.
And so then I call them.
Okay, and you call them, and then when you get on the phone, there's a linear workflow. So that you filled out the form or you called the number, and isn't it a race to whoever calls you back first, whoever answers first?
Yep. Yeah, that's typically how people want it. They want answer, especially with dogs. They calling because something happened that makes them want to call. So it's something that immediately happened. Like recently, somebody called in and their dog got out, and it was a little like Yorkie,
Little Wayne,
little Yorkie mixing, and it got out, and there was it was off leash. There was a Chihuahua across the street.
Yeah,
this is a true story. Like 3 days ago, called their
Chihuahua.
dog. Yeah, their little Chihuahua. Well, no, their little Yorkie sprinted across the street. So a little Chihuahua bit its leg, broke its leg.
No way.
Nice.
And then that Chihuahua is now no longer with us.
Are you serious?
Ooh.
No, I'm so serious. This is like
What's a
3 days
Yorkie
ago.
look like? A Yorkie?
It's not much bigger than a Yorkie. Yeah,
Yorkie.
Yep.
So this Yorkie when a
Yorkie
bit a Chihuahua.
This Yorkie. That's what they said. They said it's a Yorkie mix. So
What?
whatever that
Mixed with
entails.
a wolf.
So whatever. Dude, these little dogs here, these and Chihuahuas can be so vicious.
Oh,
they can. They're
can
just
be demonic.
They can be. They can be super sweet, or
sweet. Yes,
you get the little vicious ones that or have the little man syndrome. And they think they're bigger than all the other dogs.
So you look at this now. So again, the workflow, the call. I'm asking everybody out there homework here. Okay. So what are you going to do when the phone rings? What's the script? That's the workflow. What do you say on the phone? What's the email you're going to send to that first time buyer? That's the workflow. What are you going to say again?
Who are you going to have answer the phone?
Who are you going to have answer the phone? That's the workflow.
Are you going to record the phone?
Are you going to record the calls for quality assurance? Are you going to train your staff? Are you going to track your numbers? The first interaction with the customer. Are you going to wow the customer? So we switch gears. I'm trying to give people a lot of examples here. If you were doing mortgages, James, right now we're looking at haircuts, elephant in the room, my haircut chain. But if you're doing mortgages, someone fills out the form. How fast do you want to call them back?
As soon as I get that form, I'm calling.
That's why Steve Currington, client of mine, makes so much money. There's a lot of reasons to go into that, but he comes up top in Google.
Yep.
And he has a system where he will call you back fast. In most banks, it's
thank you for calling Yada Yada Mortgage. Today is Tuesday, June 7th. I'll be out today. We'll be back. Please press 7 to be connected to our mortgage manager, Scott, or press 8 to be connected to customer service. Press 9 to
be connected to one of our 8 vice presidents.
To be connected to one of our vice presidents. And Cameron, how do I turn this off?
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Serious.
I used Steve a couple it was like a year before I really knew Steve.
Yeah.
And I called him, and somehow every time I called him, he answered.
Because that's what he
legitimately
does.
every time I called, he answered, walked me through the next steps.
Yeah.
And that's why I used him as a mortgage because no one else answered.
That's how it
Like,
is.
I called around and no one else answered. And then I finally relucted and I called him and he was like, hey, how you doing?
Here it is. So if you have the communist mindset, which of course none of our listeners have,
no,
we had a conference a while back. We had a guy, and I'm not attacking you. I'm just teaching. But we had a guy who came from the traditional police world, and he wanted to become a mortgage guy because he heard about the success of Steve Currington and others. He's like, I'm going to get a mortgage license, and I used to be a police. So I'm organized, I'm disciplined, I'm protecting people. Okay, so I'm going to go from being a police to being a mortgage guy. So he tried, now again, then the police, I'm not attacking police, I'm just telling you what he did. He used to work 4 12-hour days as a police, and then he got to take off on the days that he was sick as a police.
Yep.
He got paid time off as a police. He got benefits as a police. He got personal ongoing education time as a police. If he wanted to go back to college to study, they would pay for it as a police. Throughout the community, people would say, thank you for serving as a police. People like clap for him when he walks into Walmart. Thank you, sir. Thank you for serving. People buying him free lunch because he's police. Now he's a mortgage guy. How'd that go? Because he kept the same schedule. True story.
Ooh.
How'd that go, James?
It went bad because you know what? When you're running your own business, you only eat what you kill.
Right.
And if you're working 4 days a week, you're not going to eat the other 3.
Oh, yeah. And there's a company a while back I was working with, the true story. They wanted to do a service business, like carpet cleaning, okay? but it's a veteran owned was the niche. We're a veteran owned carpet cleaning service. And they're used to being veterans. I have never been a veteran. I've never served. So I don't quite understand the idea. But talking to the guy, he says, we get certain benefits because we were veterans. And he might or might not have faked an injury to get lifetime free money. How much money can someone get a month if they're getting lifetime free money?
It's like $3,500 a month if you're on 100% disability.
Yeah. And this guy, I'm just telling you, he told me, he's like, hey, just, I get, some disability. And I go,
Yeah.
You injured? You okay? He's like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of game. If you don't use it, you lose it, the whole thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So he brings this mindset of like, if I don't do anything, I'll still make $3,500 a month to the carpet business. How does that go?
Not good. I mean, you immediately will fail. You can't have those hours. You can't have that mindset. It's rough.
School teacher, buddy of mine,
rough.
School teacher of mine, school teacher friend of mine just says, hey, I'm going to go from being a school teacher into becoming an entrepreneur. I want to go from a school teacher to opening up my own sort of educational school to mentor kids, basically like a tutor. Brought the same mindset, the communist mindset, to a tutoring company. James, how's that working?
It probably failed.
Right.
I'll tell you, there's I'm not going to use names, but there's a pizza shop. You probably know what it is.
Yep.
But they have it's like a baseball themed pizza shop.
Got it.
Food's incredible.
Yep.
The decorations are incredible.
Yep.
But their music never matches, and it's weird.
Yep.
And they play like elevator music.
I get it.
And what's built out like a ballpark.
Yeah.
And 3 years ago, I remember sitting with my family, and I was like, they're not going to work.
Yeah.
They're going to be out of business soon. And recently, we had somebody apply here that said, hey, they're doing mass layoffs because they're about to close down.
Right.
And because you can't, and because the owners would like randomly take vacation,
right,
and just leave. So if you don't have everything out and everything doesn't match, there's so much that goes into it, because 96% of businesses fail. And how many of it is self-employed? What's that?
This is so crazy. Every time I talk about it, I get more nauseated. There's only 9.7 million self-employed people in our country. Right?
Yeah.
And we have a population of 336 million. So if it was 10%, there would be 33 million self-employed people. It's less than 3% of our population is ever self-employed. And of that group, 96% of them fail.
And of that 4%, it's just talking about not failing. It's not talking about profitable or successful. So it's like rare.
I got a longtime client I worked with who has a gym. And he said, dude, I'm going to start a business, like a gym just for business owners. And I go, it won't work. He said, why? I said, because there's no business owners.
Yeah.
Like, there's no business owners. And he says, what do you mean there's no business owners? I'm like, there's no business owners.
And of the ones
there's very few people that are.
And it's like, and of the ones that are successful enough to have the time freedom to be able to go to the gym, they're probably going to put a gym in their house. You're not going to get them as clients.
It's a wild thing. So we go back. I'm just trying to give people a lot of examples here. This value profit chain, this service profit chain. How do you do it? How do you make it work? This is the system. This is the stuff behind the stuff that no one talks about. Now, Tulsa, we just had a place. It failed. Ooh. And again, I'm not being disparaging, not throwing shade, just facts. Golf Suites, Tulsa closes
this is like
abruptly after eviction.
This is like the third owner too.
What, dude, come on, you're being negative. Let me show the facts of it.
They
James.
rebranded 3 times
Let
like
me
the
show
last
the
6 years.
Let me show the facts. Here it is. The idea is we're going to spend millions of dollars to build this big thing. And I used to office next to this place for like 7 years. So I understand the place. Okay. So I was there for 7 years. I was the biggest commercial tenant in that shopping center for 7 years. I saw it. And I go over there, and if you're going to be profitable, it needs to sound like, and again, this is how whack at a golf ball sounds to me. It's like a quiet game, and you have kind of like a,
got the golf claps.
But if you're going to be a successful place that thrives on people whacking a golf ball, it needs to sound like, it needs to be, it was never like that. It was never full. It was never a place where like everybody was whacking a golf ball. It was always where there'd be like a person whacking a golf ball, sadly, by themselves. Seriously. And it was a thing where like the business model doesn't make sense.
No, it's the same. They're like the golf version of the shoe place we were talking about.
Right. And it can't make sense.
It's so much overhead.
so much.
The idea is awesome.
Right.
Don't get me idea sick, super cool. I love it. However, it doesn't work. It's just 3 different rebrandings in 6 years.
It can't work.
It's just it's gonna go down the drain.
So we're gonna go back to In-N-Out Burger. I want you to see this story. It's a lean startup. Look how small it was. Keep your expenses low, folks. Lean startup. Here we go.
Relics of the past. Today, this company, still family owned, is famously guarded. But that didn't stop LA Times journalist Stacy Perman from unwrapping its story in her 2009 book. Stacy and I grabbed some In-N-Out to go for a chat. Where else? In the front seat of my Jeep.
So, Stacy, you wrote a key book about In-N-Out,
I did.
and I mean, they're a famously private, some would say secretive company. That must have been a challenge writing about a company that keeps to itself.
So you have this chain, this beloved chain that everybody in not just Southern California, but literally the world knows, as I found. But they knew nothing about it because they're so private. It was a fascinating challenge to kind of go down this rabbit hole and just learn about this history and its influence on Southern California fast food and beyond.
Why do you think In-N-Out is so beloved?
In large part, it's because it's family owned. They didn't go corporate. They refused to franchise or go public. They've stayed the same. The menu, the burger that you're eating is the same burger that you could have eaten when Truman was president. You go inside, you think you've been transported to post-war Southern California.
So In-N-Out, the name describes the concept that back in the 40s and 50s was quite revolutionary.
When Harry and Esther Snyder, the founding couple of In-N-Out Burger, moved to Baldwin Park, they had no money. They got this little triangular spit of land, so they couldn't kind of replicate the style of the time. But Harry was an English guy, and he was a ham radio enthusiast and a kind of amateur engineer, and he rigged up this 2-way radio system. He said, okay, someone will drive up, they'll order through this little radio, and then drive through and out. And that's how it got the name In-N-Out. A lot of people were confused. They would send their sons out to help them figure out how to actually order.
It's funny because what you're describing.
Now, real quick, today, someone would say, well, we need to talk to an attorney to get a patent for this first. We want to mitigate our risk and figure out the best way to mitigate our risk in case we get sued. Why don't we form a committee and look at making sure we bring in a diverse workforce, and let's spend 2 years thinking about our logo. The jackassery, right?
Yeah,
Right.
no, it's tough. First, sell something first.
Right.
Make sure you can sell it. Then, controversial opinion, ask for forgiveness from your lawyer, but sell some first.
Sell
You might
something.
not even be able to sell it.
Let's keep going here. He could. It's a great point you just said. He had to sell something.
Yeah.
It's important. It gets me heated.
Because nothing else, literally, nothing else matters
Right.
if people won't buy it. It doesn't matter how passionate you are about your specific product. If other people don't care
Right.
and they won't buy it, there's no point in talking to the attorney.
Right.
There's no point in setting up everything.
Right.
If you can't sell it,
100%.
you're just wasting time.
100%. And this is a controversial idea. Back to James, our aspiring mortgage guy. My goal is when you go back to New Jersey, for you already have so many leads, and then you take the call and you never close anything. Because that's how you get good at it. You're like, thank you for calling, yada, yada. Hey, yeah, it's James, mortgage guy. How are you? Great. Yeah. So let me ask, what are you looking for? I'm looking to buy a house. Okay, great. Now, my job is to book an appointment with you today, get you fast, pre-qualified, get you the lowest rates possible in New Jersey and beyond. When's a good time to meet? And you just nail that part, even though you might not even have a funding partner yet. Because you just have to get good at that. And then you can keep track of how much money you're turning away. When I built my company, Epic Photos, I'm not kidding. We would take about 10 to 20 people per week to near close. And then they go, well, I'd like to go ahead and schedule with you. And I go, we're all booked out. But I would recommend this company. I'd refer them all to Destiny Photography because Destiny Burke is a great lady and her husband's a great guy. And I would just refer them business because he was the meat guy at Reese's. I just refer him business like that. True story. Because because what's the point of doing everything else if you can't close anything?
Right.
We have people are like, I want to do a pet deposit now. Like, what do you know? We're all booked out. And everyone on my staff was losing their minds. They're like, dude, you're turning down like $5,000 a week of money. I know. But once I get it turned on, we're turning on the pipeline, not the buckets.
Yep.
The bucket system, gathering water bucket by bucket, seems like the most efficient place to start. But once you build the pipeline, turning on. And once we started, every week we're doing 15, 20,000 a week right out the gate.
Yeah, and to add on to that, it takes a lot of discipline to see other people carrying buckets and you over there reaping nothing at the moment.
Right.
But you're just sitting there sowing. You're building that water line.
A lot of discipline.
And you know that it's going to pay off in the end.
This is
delaying that gratification and not seeing what other people do, because most people fail anyways. So why would you want to imitate that? You only want to imitate the ones who are killing it.
Watch this, folks.
Experience that's so common to most Americans. They're going through the drive-thru, but at the time it was a novelty.
No one had seen it before. It was like high technology. It was kind of the starting point for the modern day fast food restaurant. The funny thing is Harry never took out a patent on the device.
Oh.
This time in America, things had changed. Women were part of the workforce. People were on the go and busy. So the kind of sit down dinner was changing. And the highway system meant that people could go from point A to point Z in the space of a few hours. So eating on the go became pretty vogue.
They give you the option, and probably they did back then too, of whether you want to eat it in the car, and then they'll put it in a little box like this, right?
Right.
Or put it in a bag and you bring it home.
Correct.
Yeah, I've never noticed that at another fast food chain.
Thinking about that, I think you're
I
right.
think it's unique.
Yeah.
Now, the In-N-Out story is also linked to that of another fast food chain, Carl's Jr.
Yes. Carl Karcher was younger than the Snyders, but he was kind of the elder statesman of what was fast food then. He was one of the pioneers. So by the time Harry and Esther were about to start In-N-Out, they sought him out. They met and they became actually lifelong friends. He gave them advice, and the advice was always focus on the product and the personal touch and never give up. These are kind of old-timey, simple philosophies, but they worked, and the Snyders took them to heart.
In the early days.
And on part 2 of today's show, we're going to get more into the In-N-Out story, but I just want to be clear, when Jameson, somebody goes to thrivetimeshow.com and they're scheduling, they want to get a conference ticket for one of our events.
Right.
You talk to them.
I do.
And do you ever have a connection with these people?
Not every single time, but as much as I can. It's at least 85 to 90% of the time.
And I'm telling you this, I just go out of my way at the conference to make sure that every single person feels like they matter. And I can't say that I do it perfect every time, but I can tell you that my staff by default would be going out to dinner, thinking about where they're going to go eat. They're outside talking to each other. And I'm like, no. The most important people in the room at this conference are the people at the conference. So quit talking to each other, staff, and start talking to the customers and ask them questions and say, what questions do you have? And then write them on the whiteboard so every single person leaves with the answers that they came for. Make sure every single person gets invited to lunch. Make sure every single person finds a seat. And this idea of making sure that everyone feels like they matter is very foreign to people, because most people are used to jackassery, so they imitate jackassery without knowing. So I'll see members of our staff by default who'll be standing there while someone's looking around, clearly looking for a bathroom or something, and the staff is in an engaged conversation about what time does the conference end. And I'll go, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, my bad. So that's why we have a really good staff, is because I manage the workflow. You can have the workflow, but if you don't manage the workflow, it doesn't work. You've got to manage the workflow. So we shift gears for a minute back to James. Think about have you ever been to business workshops before ours?
I have not.
Okay. So most business workshops, the people that speak don't talk about practical subjects. It's usually like 42 steps to making a more diverse work environment. 82 ways to make your employees feel that you care. 7 ways to look at gap accounting versus accrual accounting.
Yeah, and I get these ads on social media, and it talks about, these business workshops, and it says in the ad, you'll find out the mindset that it takes to grow a successful business.
The mindset needed to grow a bit. How about the stuff you need to actually do?
Right.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of these business workshops are. It's basically like and I love them, but it's like a Ray Lewis speech at every workshop.
We like Ray Lewis.
We like Ray Lewis,
yeah.
But there's no actionable steps to it. So it'd be like if all the coaching was Ray Lewis, you wouldn't be successful. You have to have the actual actionable steps you're going to do in the football game. You have to have that stuff, because all they do is they bring in speakers, or they bring in people who sound enthusiastic, who are very motivating, and they get you fired up, but you're not, you don't know where to go after that. So it's like you come out of the building, you're like, woo!
If you're a
Oh yeah, we're going. And then you're like, where am I going? I feel fired up, but I don't know where to put this energy.
Let me play a little Ray Lewis for you, just so you can see what you're talking about. I
heard one comment says, one of the greatest warriors of all time, and we lose him like this. So I said, oh my gosh, they done wrote me off.
Going forward, here he goes. He's going to get lathered up here.
Just so I can get 3 hours of sleep.
Keep going. Nice.
And put both of my hands on Jacoby's chest. And I said, I'm just doing what God.
And it's probably a great motivational thing, but at the end of the day,
Yeah,
like,
he's
how do I get my website to come up top and Google? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do I get leads? Don't know. How do I sell something? Couldn't tell you. Good. So we're talking about a linear workflow. That's what makes a successful company, is a linear workflow. That's what makes it work, is a linear workflow. And so again, lots of examples here. Elephant in the room. How do we get customers to elephant in the room? How do we turn those customers into paying customers? How do we wow the customers? How do we train the staff? How do we do the accounting? How do we make a profit? That's elephant in the room. You know, Make Your Dog Epic. How do we get customers? How do we turn those customers into first appointments? How do we wow those first appointments? And JT, for anybody out there that's just learning about the brand, elephant in the room, the first haircut is always $1, and it's like a high-end men's grooming lounge, and people love it. It's $1.
Yep.
So go to Make Your Dog Epic. The first lesson is 50 cents, and then what else happens?
After that, we will beat any competitor's price.
Yeah.
We have the fastest turnaround time in an industry. So
Yep.
we fix 98% of issues in 1 to 3 weeks.
Yep.
And then after that, we have a money back guarantee. You get entered in for a chance to win a trip to Hawaii if you sign up for that first lesson.
Yep.
And then there's one I'm missing. I'm blanking on.
Well,
there's
we'll
so
beat
many.
anybody's price, fastest turnaround time. But we have a script for all this. But we have we beat anyone's price at the fastest turnaround time, 50 cents for the first lesson. We make sure that we train your dog without altering your dog's personality. We offer a chance to win a trip to Hawaii. I mean, there's all of that in there. It's the most affordable. I mean, it's incredible. So it's people say, yes, please.
Lifetime learning. That's what it was. You have lifetime support. So once we're done training, we'll still always be there for you.
Now, James, if people go to want to get a conference ticket, how does that work? What do they get? How much does it cost?
So they'll go to thrivetimeshow.com and fill out the form. I'll call you up. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you a little bit more about what you could expect to learn at the conference.
Yep.
And then we have VIP tickets where you'll get to meet Tim Tebow, Peter Taunton, John Lee Dumas, Clay Clark, even have dinner at your house with you too. And then if VIP is not for you, we have general admissions. And then we also always do scholarship pricing too, where we make it affordable for you to come out and learn the things that you need to be successful. And you could name your price for that ticket.
And just to be super clear here, as you look at the different success stories and what we teach at the conference, we're going to teach you at the conference specifically marketing, accounting, sales, branding, workflow design, how to manage your schedule, how to time block, how to hold people accountable. Everything you need to start and grow a successful company, human resources, systems, scaling, again, marketing, branding, website design. It's all taught. And again, as far as the price, it's $250 or whatever price you want to pay. $250 or whatever price you can afford. And that's a great thing because I know people that grew up poor. But the theme of today's show, I hope this is helpful for somebody. You've got to escape the communist mindset. You have to escape the mindset that there's somebody coming to help you. Nobody is coming to help you. And I'm not saying that to depress anybody. I'm just saying in my lifetime, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad at my dad. I'm not mad at my mom. I'm not mad at my neighbors, not mad at my uncles, not mad at my friends. But nobody has ever come to help. Ever in my lifetime. I was building DJ Connection. Nobody who said, I'll be happy to invest in your business. Nobody did. People said, I'll be happy to meet you and coach you down the path. No one did. Nobody, not a single person. And I think that people think that they're like, well, it took a team to help you, right? No, nobody helped me. And I had to help myself. And that's a mindset. But once you latch onto that idea, James, with a kung fu grip, and you go out there into New Jersey and you open up your mortgage company, just like Steve Currington did, what's going to happen when you recognize that only you can count on you? You can only count on you.
Then that's when you give 100% of your effort 100% of the time.
Right. And that's the mindset. And JT, once you recognize, wow, Make Your Dog Epic is becoming the largest dog training company in Oklahoma, and it will be. And not because I'm prophetic or I'm good at guessing or I'm anointed. I'm just, it's going to be.
Yeah, it's just a mathematical fact.
It's going to
It will be.
happen.
Yep.
What happens when you know, okay, this is what I need to do, and I'm going to own the idea of getting it done. And people may come and go, but I'm not going to deviate my goals.
Yeah, then so basically the worst thing you can do is rely on other people for your success.
Yeah.
Because if you rely on other people for your success, they will always let you down. No one actually cares about your own personal success. So you have to get there and understand that no matter what happens,
Yep,
you're going to be successful. So if you lose it all, you don't care because you're going to be successful. And you just have to have that mindset and you have to own it. And then you just have to be humble enough in that process to accept when it comes the hand up, not the hand out, from people who have done it before. So if you have that chance, if you have the opportunity, like that's why I would consider these business conferences are a hand up, not a handout, because there's so many people who want to give you advice. So you put it once that the B team is readily available.
Oh, yeah.
The A team is hardly available. Right now, we're making the A team available, and they're there to give you a hand up and give you the insights on what it takes to be a very successful business owner, because there's very, very few out there. And we have a bunch here, and they're going to give you that hand up, and you're going to get you there. So you have to be motivated and take ownership of your own life and all of your decisions, and then take ownership and knowing that you don't know what you don't know.
I've got 3 final ideas I want to communicate that are very important. One, if you want to learn PR, the world's most successful public relations person ever, Michael Levine, will be appearing at the conference. This is the guy who did the PR for Michael Jackson, Prince, Nike, Pizza Hut. Friend of mine, kind of a big deal. Colton Dixon, in terms of Christian music, he's, I'd say, in the top 40 most played Christian music artists. Esther Federkevich, the most successful female literary agent on the planet. So if you want to be a female literary agent, you want to become a best-selling author, that's her. You have Peter Taunton. This is a guy who's worth $100 million. Actually, more than that. But he built Snap Fitness, the franchise brand. Tim Tebow, very successful on the field, off the field. He's chosen to stay focused on faith, family, finance, fitness. He's really done a great job having a an intentionally designed life. John Lee Dumas, one of the most successful podcasters of all time. Jill Donovan built a very successful multi-million-dollar company called RusticCuff.com. It's a very successful apparel company. Mondo de la Vega. This guy grew up in the gang world and then chose to leave it. And now he's a minister and a traveling teaching pastor. And it just,
awesome.
it doesn't even make sense. Like his path to success makes no sense. He should be dead. And then Sean Baker, this guy's obsessed with only eating meat, and he knows why.
Yes, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is jacked, and he's just very, very into meat. You're going to love this guy.
Dude, I'm going to cook him a steak, a tomahawk.
You should. We should get him the best steak possible.
I will.
Okay, but that's something we have to do.
Right.
So I encourage everybody out there today, calls to action, okay? So go to thrivetimeshow.com to get those final tickets. We have just right now under 70 tickets remaining for that. That's thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com. If you want to schedule a dog training lesson, you got to be in the great state of Oklahoma, but you can schedule that lesson today at makeyourdogepic.com, makeyourdogepic.com. If you want to schedule your first haircut for just $1, that's eitrlounge.com. That's eitrlounge.com. And if you want to download any of my books for free, there's 34 books. You can download all of them for free today, simply by going to thrivetimeshow.com, thrivetimeshow.com. You go there and you go to thrivetimeshow.com/free resources. And when you go there, you can download the books all for free today, right there, thrivetimeshow.com. So without any further ado, we're going to end this show with a boom, because boom stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. And so here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.
Cruise west down Route 66 from Meet La Cafe, and you'll arrive in the San Gabriel Valley suburb of Baldwin Park, home to another place steeped in fast food lore. It was here, back in 1948, that Harry and Esther Snyder opened a modest burger stand that eventually grew into a cherished local chain. But In-N-Out didn't just win the hearts of Southern Californians. It revolutionized fast food with a stroke of genius: the two-way drive-through speaker, making traditional car hops and walk-up windows relics of the past. Today, this company, still family-owned, is famously guarded. But that didn't stop LA Times journalist Stacy Perman from unwrapping its story in her 2009 book. Stacy and I grabbed some In-N-Out to go for a chat. Where else? In the front seat of my Jeep.
So Stacy, you wrote the book about In-N-Out.
I did.
And I mean, they're a famously private, some would say secretive company. That must have been a challenge writing about a company that keeps to itself.
So you have this chain, this beloved chain that everybody in not just Southern California, but literally the world knows, as I found. But they knew nothing about it because they're so private. It was a fascinating challenge to kind of go down this rabbit hole and just learn about this history and its influence on Southern California fast food and beyond.
Why do you think In-N-Out is so beloved?
In large part, it's because it's family owned. They didn't go corporate. They refused to franchise or go public. They've stayed the same. The menu, the burger that you're eating is the same burger that you could have eaten when Truman was president. When you go inside, you think you've been transported to post-war Southern California.
So In-N-Out, the name describes the concept that back in the 40s and 50s was quite revolutionary.
When Harry and Esther Snyder, the founding couple of In-N-Out Burger, moved to Baldwin Park, they had no money. They got this little triangular spit of land, so they couldn't kind of replicate the style of the time. But Harry was an ingenious guy, and he was a ham radio enthusiast and a kind of amateur engineer, and he rigged up this two-way radio system. He said, okay, someone will drive up, they'll order through this little radio, and then drive through and out. And that's how it got the name In-N-Out. A lot of people were confused. They would send their sons out to help them figure out how to actually order.
It's funny because what you're describing is an experience that's so common to most Americans. They're going through the drive-thru, but at the time it was a novelty.
No one had seen it before. It was like high technology. It was kind of the starting point for the modern day fast food restaurant. The funny thing is Harry never took out a patent on the device.
Oh.
This time in America, things had changed. Women were part of the workforce. People were on the go and busy. So the kind of sit-down dinner was changing. And the highway system meant that people could go from point A to point Z in the space of a few hours. So eating on the go became pretty vogue.
They give you the option, and probably they did back then too, of whether you want to eat it in the car, and then they'll put it in a little box like this for you, right? Or put it in a bag and you bring it home.
Correct.
Yeah, I've never noticed that at another fast food chain.
Thinking about that, I think you're right.
I think it's unique.
Yeah.
Now, the In-N-Out story is also linked to that of another fast food chain, Carl's Jr.
Yes. Carl Karcher was younger than the Snyders, but he was kind of the elder statesman of what was fast food then. He was one of the pioneers. So by the time Harry and Esther were about to start In-N-Out, they sought him out. They met and they became actually lifelong friends. He gave them advice, and the advice was always focus on the product and the personal touch and never give up. These are kind of old-timey, simple philosophies, but they worked, and the Snyders took them to heart.
In the early days of fast food, if you walked into a different chain, like a Carl's Jr. or a McDonald's, was it common to see squeaky clean aesthetic, the smiling faces?
I think it was because they were really all mom and pop. So there was a real skin in the game. This was your place. It wasn't this franchise, faceless, nameless corporate America.
Which is what all the other fast food chains have become, unfortunately. Yeah. But In-N-Out's managed to keep that alive.
Well, it goes back to Harry's philosophy, which was keep it simple, do one thing, and do it well, which is why the menu has 4 items. They didn't add Happy Meals or specials. There are no movie tie-ins.
It's funny that something that is really so conservative can also seem so radical today.
Yeah. In terms of both fast food and corporate America, they really run counterintuitively, and yet they're wildly successful and profitable. It didn't hurt the bottom line.
So when you were writing and researching the book, you must have had a lot of In-N-Out.
More than I care to admit, yes. And that's where I got some really great stories of people who would tell me the links they would go to for an In-N-Out, since there's so few of them. There were stories of flying them to, Minnesota for someone's birthday. I will say, I do feel like I taste history when I bite into a burger.
That's, again, a big part of what they're selling. They're selling history, nostalgia.
Today, I wanted to just really hit on something dealing with pain. I asked my mom one day, I said, Mom, I said, would you buy me a deck of cards? She says, Junior, I don't gamble in my house. Ain't no cards coming in my house. I said, Mom, I don't need them for gambling. I don't want them for gambling. I just need a deck of cards, Mom. My mom, for years, from the time I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I never saw a woman take so much physical abuse than the way I've seen my mother be every freaking day of my life. But I can't help her because I'm not strong enough. I don't have the muscle to get these men off my mother. My mother's a very high yellow woman, and every time they hit her, she would bleed from her eyes. She would walk around for days with sunglasses on in the house. I said, Ma, I need a deck of cards. Last altercation we got in, my stepfather hit my mama so hard in the face. My stepfather hit my mama so hard in the face, I called her. And I looked at him with this rage and this pain in my eyes. Like one day, and I took this deck of cards. And I couldn't live in the house, so I had to live in the garage. And after this last altercation we had with this guy, I ran to my garage and I grabbed this deck of cards and I flipped a 7. And I started doing 7 push-ups. I flipped a 6, I did 6. I flipped a 9, I did 9. I flipped a 2, I did 2. I flipped another 9, I did 9. Until I got all the way through the deck. Jack, Queen, King worth 10. Aces, 25s, and Jokers, 50. Until I got sick and tired of what pain felt like in my gut. It didn't even matter to me no more. Because I started shuffling them all over again, and that's when I started doing my sit-ups. Because I wanted to make sure sports wasn't the reason why I started training. It was to make sure a man never put his hands on my mama again. And I told my mama, no pain will ever stop me from taking care of you and my brothers and sisters. That's why I started doing what I started doing. Sports was a byproduct of what people started to see. It was the behind the scenes that was driving me crazy. There's 2 sides of pain that I don't think a lot of people really understand. There's one side of pain that's the suffering and the discomfort side of pain. But then there's another side of pain that's called effort. It's called glory. It's called if you can find a way to push through pain, there's something greater on the other side of it. And if you never tap into it, it's because the first time you felt that you backed off. The first time you felt, that burn. The first time you felt that it's too much. And we rationalize with ourselves to where we automatically stop. That's why a bunch of us give up so much in life so quickly. That's why kids have a problem finishing things in today's time. Because as soon as they feel a small bit of discomfort, of things ain't right, they're gone. I can't do it no more. But suppose I told you the greatest pain of my life is the reason I'm standing here today.
I dare you to take a little pain. Go through it. You're not gonna die because you're feeling a little pain. You ain't gonna die. At the end of pain is success. Pain is temporary. It may last for a minute, or an hour, or a day, or even a year. But eventually, it will subside. And something else will take its place. If I quit, however, it will last forever. On the other side of that pain, on the other side of that pain, on the other side of that pain is your promise.
At 10 years old, I picked up these deck of cards. And one day I counted them. And I found out there was 52 of them in the deck of cards. 52. And I turned my greatest pain into, in my business, with the greatest achievement ever is the touchdown Barney Trophy. 52 cards. And ironically, my number ended up being 52.
On June 7th and 8th, the Reawaken America Tour takes the final episode of the Reawaken America Tour into Detroit, Michigan for the Michigan Mega Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know if I understand what you mean by Mega Bowl.
It's a Mega Bowl. What's not to understand? This is history in the making. You're going to want to tell your grandkids and their grandkids and their grandkids. And when they look back in the annals of history, they're going to be talking about three things: discovery of fire, invention of the submarine, and the Michigan Mega Bowl.
Let's get ready to bowl!
And here they come.
On June 7th and 8th, the Reawaken America Tour heads into Motown in Detroit, Michigan for the final Reawaken America Tour.
Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on June 7th and 8th, the Reawaken America Tour heads to the home of Governor Whitmer, the home of lockdowns, Motown, and it's going to be profound. Ladies and gentlemen, get those tickets right now at timetofreeamerica.com.
Gretchen Whitmer has spent most of her working life in the grubby, small-bore confines of Michigan state politics. That is not a training ground for excellence. She banned the sale of carpets and paint and potted plants. She told people they couldn't fish or go to church or drive alone to their own homes.
Today I'm issuing a stay home, stay safe executive order for all Michiganders, and it goes into effect just after midnight tonight for at least the next 3 weeks.
We know that this rally endangered people. This kind of activity will put more people at risk.
And I hate to say it, but we know that some people will gather anyway.
And that is why we are taking the final Reawaken America Tour into Detroit, Michigan on June 7th and 8th. Once again, folks, we're taking the final Reawaken America Tour into Detroit, Michigan on June 7th and 8th, 2024.
This is history in the making. You're going to want to tell your grandkids and their grandkids and their grandkids. And when they look back in the annals of history, they're going to be talking about three things: discovery of fire, invention of the submarine, and the Michigan Mega Bowl. Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl!
Whoa! Do you know what this means?
You can now come and see Dr. Judy Mikovits, Julie Green, Amanda Grace, Dr. Simone Gold, the powerlifter and wife of Eric Trump, Laura Trump, Gene Ho, Roger Stone, the woman who woke up the world with the Plandemic series, Dr. Judy Mikovits, the hilarious Jim Brewer, Dr. Peter McCullough, Mike Won't Let America Go to Hell Lindell, Pastor Leon Benjamin, Pastor Mark Burns, Pastor Greg Locke, Pastor Dave Scarlett, Pastor Brian Gibson, Pastor Phil Hotzenpiller, Pastor Craig Hagan. Because, although even America may be facing an imminent disaster, on the Reawaken America Tour, we travel with pastors. Did I mention on the Reawaken America Tour, we've had Liz Crokin, Jimmy Levy, we've had Mickey Willis, we've even had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. show up at the Reawaken America Tour. We've had Charlie Kirk, Roseanne, Donna Clement Petruska, Mel K, Owen Troyer, Alex Jones, Mike Adams, Seth Holhouse, Donald J. Trump Jr.
Eddie?
Get those tickets today at timetofreeamerica.com. We have scholarship pricing available to make this event affordable for everybody. What does that mean? That means you can name your price.
Strike to claim it. A strike to claim it. And he got it!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can name your price. We want every single American and married Americans going to be able to afford a ticket to the Reawaken America Tour. The Reawaken America Tour. Get those tickets today at timetofreeamerica.com. Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari, Henry Kissinger, and the World Economic Forum, they have their get-togethers at Davos. But we have the Reawaken America Tour so you can learn the truth about election fraud, medical fraud, religious fraud, and to get back to God. Ladies and gentlemen, 70-plus speakers are featured during this 2-day epic event. To make this event affordable for everybody, you can name your price. So I'd like to name my price Skylar, or Hamilton, or this is probably not the right conference for you. All right, stop everything just for a second here. D, I heard a rumor. The rumor I've heard, again, that you are actually from Detroit. Is the rumor true? I've heard the rumor that you have lived in Detroit. Is that true?
I have lived in Detroit, yes.
I've also heard a rumor that you might not be attending the Reawaken America Tour in Detroit. What is that all about? It's the Mega Bowl.
Yes, it is.
Okay, let me pull this up. Let me try to sell you on it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, now again, I know you work in the office, so it's sort of a circular Ponzi scheme thing. If I sell you something, I'm kind of paying for it, I guess.
Okay.
But here's the deal. This is the Sterling Lanes bowling alley. So at 6 p.m. on the night before the Reawaken America starts, we're doing a warm-up, okay? It's a meet and greet called the Mega Bowl.
Okay.
And so General Flynn and many of the key speakers will be actually bowling.
Wow.
So if you're an attendee, you could go bowling. I mean, Pastor Leon Benjamin's going to go bowling. Jim Brewer, we might get him bowling. I mean, we're going to have General Flynn. We're working on Mike Lindell. We'll have General Flynn in the house. We're going to have maybe Cash Patel. A lot of the great speakers. We're getting Mel K. We'll see if we can get her. So it's not only is it the Detroit Reawaken America Tour, the final event we're doing, featuring Alina Habba, Trump's attorney, Cash Patel, Eric Trump, General Flynn, Colonel Douglas McGregor, retired Colonel Douglas McGregor. It's going to be an all-star lineup, but we're doing the Mega Bowl. We've never done a meet and greet bowling theme event. Whoa. Each and every Reawaken America Tour event has been 100% sold out, and these events will be sold out as well. Request those tickets today at timetofreeamerica.com, or for faster service, you can text in the number 918-851-0102. Again, to be bilingually sensitive, you can text in the number 918-851-0102. That's 918-851-0102.
Hello, everybody. It's an honor to be with you.
Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl!
Don't roll with scissors, stop, drop, and roll. Holy crap, it's the Michigan Mega Bowl.
It's the Michigan Mega Bowl.
Listen, I don't know what's going on. I don't even want to say president. I don't know what it is. I just know it comes out. It gives no hope. It just...
Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl! Michigan Mega Bowl!
All right, Angelina, how old are you?
13.
Joey, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Joey, what's your relationship to me?
So I go to school with your daughter, and I work for you.
And who is this person?
This is your daughter.
That's right. Okay. And we have MyPillow products in our home. Thanks to Mike Lindell. And what we're doing today, guys, is we are joined here in the studio because I want to encourage everybody that it is starting right now, Mike Lindell Appreciation Month today on. And so what I encourage everyone to do now is I want you to go to mypillow.com. People ask me all the time, they say, how can I support the tour? How can I help the Reawaken America Tour? You go to mypillow.com. Let me show you real quick here. You go to mypillow.com. And I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to mypillow.com, pulling up the website, feeling the flow, working it, logging onto my account, clicking it. Okay, so mypillow.com. And Joey, do you own any MyPillow? You go to mypillow.com/clay. So mypillow.com/clay. That'll get you a discount off of everything right there. Again, mypillow.com/clay. Joey, do you own any MyPillow products?
I do not.
Okay, well, that means that you need to get started. You need to go up there to mypillow.com/clay. And if you buy anything at all on mypillow.com, it helps support the Reawaken America Tour. Angelina, do you have any MyPillow products?
Yeah, I have slippers, and then I have a couple pillows.
You got slippers, you got pillows?
Yeah.
What else do you have?
Well, I don't have any other stuff.
Do we have cat beds?
Mom, do they sell this?
Yeah, they sell cat beds. They sell mattresses.
We do have cat beds.
And listen, have you purchased your Christmas presents yet?
No.
That's the problem. You guys got to get out there. So you just go to mypillow.com, time-to-freeamerica.com/Clay. You can support the Reawaken America Tour. And I want people to know this. Also at time-to-freeamerica.com, time-to-freeamerica.com, you can download my newest book. Can you grab that there, Angelina? It's my newest book. It's called The Great Reset versus it's The Great Reset versus The Great Reawakening. You can download this book 100% free today at time-to-freeamerica.com, time-to-freeamerica.com. Also, you can watch the documentary, which you're in. You can download the documentary for free tonight by going to time-to-freeamerica.com and you click on the Watch the Reawaken America documentary. You can watch it. Then again, Joey, I hate to call you out, but have you bought your Christmas presents yet?
I have not.
It's Mike Lindell Appreciation Month. How have you not possibly purchased your Christmas presents yet?
I have no idea.
Okay, so let's make sure we're learning at home here. If we want to support Mike Lindell, the Reawaken America Tour, and for the fight against election fraud, Joey, where do we go?
mypillow.com/Clay.
Yeah, /Clay. Also, folks, people always ask me, they say, how's that lawsuit going with Dominion? Well, what happened is the former head of security for Dominion Strategies, Eric Coomer, he decided to, by the way, if you go to time-to-freeamerica.com, you can check this out. But the former head of security and strategy for Dominion, he has decided to sue the Reawaken America Tour because he claims that we have defamed him. And so by sharing the truth about election fraud. Now, this is the same Eric Coomer that ran a moving vehicle into a parked building during the day while intoxicated. So he lied to police who were wearing a body cam, and they captured it all on video, which I'm going to show to you in just a moment. So again, folks, if you want to support the Reawaken America Tour, our lawsuit against Eric Coomer, as we defend ourselves against the defamation lawsuit of Eric Coomer, just go to mypillow.com/Clay. That's one great way you can help out. I really do appreciate all the help out there, folks. Thanks again.
Wow. One of the bed and breakfasts from Street Inn or something like that, and took off on foot. I'm gonna have 8 go over there and secure the vehicle.
Holy crap.
How's it going? Good, how are you? Good. Are you Eric? Yeah. So, were you driving your truck? No, I've been here putting the order away. Okay. Who was driving your truck? I don't know. Okay, so where is your truck? It's 2 blocks down on the right. Okay, and you just parked it there? Yeah. Okay. Have you had anything to drink since you got here? Yeah. Had a couple shots with the cook. Okay. Do you mind if we step out back and talk for a second? Yeah. So, walk me through your route to get from where you parked there. Came from my house, came down. I live up on the mesa. Okay. So I came down side route, came down Sackett, parked over there. Okay. So what happened in between there? Okay, I'm gonna come around to the front. Nothing. Nothing at all. So you didn't hit a building? No. Okay. Unfortunately, I have your truck with damage on it. Okay. Matching damage to a building down there. Okay. And witnesses saying a guy in blue plaid got out of the truck and came back here. Okay. So you're saying that wasn't you? No. Okay. You understand why that's hard to believe? Understood. But you were the only person driving your vehicle? As far as I know. Okay. And you parked it 2 blocks up on the street there? Okay.
Right. So at this point, 4x4 pickup truck, we're at Forkville Road. This officer can take you to jail. Okay. We're going to charge you with felony misinformation along with all the traffic stuff. Okay. Or you can cut the nonsense. He cuts your ticket for the crash, and we move on with life. It seems goofy to me to jam yourself up with more charges when you obviously responsible for this thing is property damage. But it doesn't make any sense. Understood. So.
Like you said, we're at a fork in the road. The choice is yours.
Understood.
You can talk to my attorney. Okay. Go ahead and turn around. Put your phone back for me. Yep.
He was being filmed on body cam. And he lied to police about what happened. If you're saying, well, what can I do to support right now? One thing you could do, and I mean this, folks, if you go to timetofreeamerica.com and you can click on the button here that says donate to support Clay Clark's fight against Eric Coomer's lawsuit, that would be great because the legal fees, the ongoing legal fees for this lawsuit are almost $3,000 a day. So if you could donate anything, I mean, we just had somebody donate 11 hours ago, $20. Someone donated $100. Any amount at all would be absolutely helpful. All that money goes to just fight against that lawsuit with Eric Coomer, who's coming after myself, Mike Lindell, and other patriots. And then the second thing you could do is if you go to mypillow.com and you want to buy anything at all, I hope today we can help support you in some way, in some shape or form. And it does support the Reawaken America Tour, which currently operates via deficit spending, which involves me contributing more and more money. You know the feeling. So for everybody out there, Mike, that's going to mypillow.com/Clay, mypillow.com/Clay, or who's calling the 1-800 number, 1-800-871-0302. Again, why should everybody out there this year look to buy from non-woke companies, whether it be MyPillow or somebody else, sir?
You're supporting 100% USA employees that are there, call centers in the USA, and we have to all get together now and support the companies that are out there fighting for our election platforms and fighting for our country to save our country. This is a battle of biblical proportions of good and evil. This isn't hey, this is just something that's going to go away. It's not. God wins in the end, but right now, everything you do every day, get yourself a mattress topper. People don't realize we have the bathrobes, we have the roll and go anywhere pillows, we have down comforters, we have, look at all the stuff, we have Christmas items there, tree skirts, socks, but we have all these items. And also, Clay, I'm going to say another thing too. You can use your promo code Clay. I think we should bring this up right at the end of the show. I have another platform, everybody, called mystore.com. These are to help the entrepreneurs of the 100% USA made products, over 1,000 families, everybody. You can use the promo code Clay, and you're supporting all these great entrepreneurs. You're supporting MyPillow shipping, because we do all the shipping for my store. There you have the coffee, you have the pillows. These so many items there. There's over 1,000 items where these families rely 100% on this time of year. I mean, it's just it's such a blessing. And so you can also use promo code Clay there. So I just can't thank your audience enough, because this is how we've gotten through the attacks on MyPillow, and everyone at MyPillow thanks all of you out there that are purchasing.
How concerned are you about the collapse of the U.S. dollar, sir?
I'm very concerned. And it's more than just the U.S. There's a thing called the BRICS nations. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And what happened in 2021, I believe, when we abandoned Afghanistan, on that day, Saudi Arabia shifted allegiances from America, trading in dollars, petrodollars. Saudi Arabia switched sides to China and Russia. It's the end of the dollar system. So the end is near for the US dollar, and my concern is it's going to wipe out stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. Just for my generation, the boomer generation, we're in serious trouble, because the only reason our stocks, bonds, mutual funds are up is because the Fed and the Treasury just kept printing more and more money. Instead of fixing the problem from 2008, they just kept printing more money. And it's about to come to an end. So that's why when I say to people, buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin, you want to stay in what I call real assets, tangible assets. That's my opinion. Most people say buy US Treasuries. That's Harry Dent. I wouldn't trust anything printed by the US government, but that's me. I don't like anything that can be printed.
Now, the BRICS nations, again, to repeat for everybody who's hearing this for the first time, you might hear about the BRICS nations. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, Africa. Those comprise roughly 41% of the Earth's population, and they are teaming up together to unseat the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. And now you have Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Nigeria, Venezuela, Algeria, Turkey, and Argentina all teaming up to unseat the US dollar as the world's US.
You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody, listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view. And the Great Reset will be the collapse of the dollar.
My name is General Mike Flynn, and I want everyone to know that I stand fully behind Beverly Hills Precious Metals and its owner, Andrew Sorcini, a great friend of mine. We are facing one of the greatest periods of financial uncertainty in American history. And now is the time to organize your finances, seriously consider how you can take care of yourself and your family, and start making some serious decisions.
Since my name is Cash, I'm constantly worried about inflation. But to secure your cash going forward, buy into gold and silver today. Go to bh-pm.com today so you can go buy in gold and silver and secure your family's future. bh-pm.com. Call Beverly Hills Precious Metals, get your consultation, buy into gold and silver, just like I'm doing today.
I've spent years as a macroeconomic forecaster, and there's a really strong relationship between inflation and using gold as a hedge. And gold can be a really important part of your portfolio. It's not for day traders. It's not something you get in and get out of. But if you want it as part of the anchor of your portfolio, go to bh-pm.com, Beverly Hills Precious Metal. They will help out in terms of your needs. It's a big choice you have to make. Do your homework. But if you want gold, bh-pm.com is a great place to go.